I'm answering your SEO questions, and we're starting right now. If you want to transform your website into a customer or lead generation machine, I'll show you all my best tips, tactics, and secrets to get there fast. Let's dive in. Hey there, I'm Wes McDowell, web strategist for The Deep End, and if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and click on the subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it so you never miss another video you need to succeed online. So I've done quite a few videos now on the topic of SEO, different aspects of it, and I get questions from you guys, which I love. And now I want to do something for you and really just answer a lot of the questions that I've been getting. And I do want to do a regular series of these, covering different topics like SEO or landing pages or digital marketing, list building, all that good stuff. So if you have any questions about any of those topics, go ahead and leave it in the comments below so I can answer them in an upcoming video. Okay, but now on to the question. So the first one is from Add More Colors, and it says, does Google have a preferred alternative between creating content in blog format versus creating pages with content? So, all right, so what this means is basically, any kind of website has their sales pages. Think of your homepage or your service pages, and then you've got a blog, which is generally more helpful content, how-tos, tutorials, that kind of thing. So he's asking if Google prefers one over the other. The answer is not across the board, no. However, Google does favor certain types of content for certain types of searches. And you really have to nail this down to whenever people are doing a search, there's usually one of two things that are going through their mind. Either they're looking for research, either they're looking how to do something, or they're looking to actually find a product or a service. So Google's pretty good at matching up those buyer intent searches with sales pages or home pages for a company, versus if someone's looking up how to paint a living room, that'll get matched with a blog post, most likely possibly a video. But if they're searching for house painters near me, that's obviously going to go to a different kind of search result. It's probably going to be a mixture of local companies that cover house painting, along with a lot of aggregators like Angie's List and Yelp and that kind of thing. So I think the bigger question you need to ask here and you need to answer is you need to figure out what are people actually typing into Google that'll get you matched up with them, and then come up with the right kind of content to match it. So if you think you can get a bunch of people to your website by answering questions, then create blog posts that help them. But then also optimize for those, near me searches with your homepage. And one easy thing I like to do is once you find the keyword phrases that you think you want to rank for, just do a Google search on them and see what comes up. Google will tell you the kind of content they like to push up for that particular search. So just do a little bit of research and come up with your own content accordingly. All right, hopefully that helped. Okay, so the next question comes from Bryce Gibson, and Bryce asks, what do you think about buying legit reviews from a site like localreview.org? Will these types of reviews help with SEO? So this question came to me a few months ago, and I wasn't really sure how to answer it at the time because I'd never heard of that company. So this answer isn't really so much for you, Bryce, because you've already kind of gotten this answered, but for anybody else thinking of this kind of thing, as it turns out, what this company was, localreview.org, what they basically do is once you place an order with them for reviews, they put a call out to local freelancers in the area who will write these reviews. But they have to be kind of around you, because obviously Google knows where people are. If you're getting reviews from Bangladesh for your paint store, that's going to seem fishy, right? So they put a call out to all these reviewers in the area. Doesn't quite sound legit to me. If you're paying for people to review your business who haven't actually used your business, that's gray hat at best, more likely a little black hat. Now, in terms of is Google going to catch on to it? I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they're being smart about it and actually getting people in your area to do the reviews for you, which helps. But I'm still not a fan of gaming the system with reviews. I think that you should be going after legit reviews. It's just ethical to do business that way. But I'll get off my soapbox about that now. And I will say, I'll go a step further and say that reviews aren't necessarily going to help with SEO anyway. They can help somewhat with the Google map listings. they're a very small factor in terms of actually where you show up in the listings there. But where they really come into play is if you are in there and you have the most positive reviews, you're obvious people's eyes are going to be drawn to your listing over the other ones, right? So it's not so much about getting ranked there, it's about getting people to choose your listing, real people choosing you over the other listings. So that's where reviews come into play. Don't buy them, earn them legitimately. Hopefully that is helpful for some of you guys who might be thinking of doing something like that. So the next one comes from Ryan Funkhauser, and Ryan says, do you have any recommendations for small businesses in niche markets that don't have much demand for original content? I represent a nonprofit camp in Los Angeles. Most of our clients are not really interested in content from us. They just want a good place to go on a retreat. What he's saying is, basically, I'm in a niche where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to write these elaborate blog posts. People just want to find our product or our service. But what I would say is do a little bit of research to see what kinds of questions people have that are related to what you offer. In this case, they're a camp, they're like a retreat in LA. So I would think lots of people are probably typing into Google, searching for maybe the best hiking trails in Los Angeles. So if you could write a blog post like that, that can get some extra people to your site. You write that post, and then, the last one on your post, or you put it in there somewhere, is your trail or your camp or whatever it is. A little bit of an advertorial angle there, so that can be very effective. Another thing you can do with that kind of content is, even if it's tangentially related to what you do, you can end it with some kind of a content upgrade, like a checklist or something that's along the same lines, but even more valuable, that they have to give you their email address for. Now they're on your email list and you can continue marketing to them over time. So it's really just a matter of finding the overlap between who your customers are and the kind of content they're looking for, give it to them, and then you can either get them on your email list or you can retarget them with more direct ads, Facebook retargeting ads or YouTube retargeting ads. Okay, moving right along. The next question is from Chris Wright. And Chris says, I've heard that you can get backlinks by commenting on people's blogs and adding a hyperlink to your site or landing page. Does that actually work for backlinks? So basically, backlinks are one of the biggest signals for Google that a site is worthy of showing up in search. It basically counts as a vote. If enough people link to your site, Google says, this must be a really authoritative site. A lot of people are linking to it. We're gonna push it to the front. However, this tactic that Chris is talking about here, where you're going on blogs and you're going in the comments section and just commenting and leaving a link to your site, don't recommend that, and here's why. First of all, those links are usually what we call no follow. There are do follow links, which actually have that kind of power that I was talking about. We call that link juice. And then there's no follow links, which basically don't give any of those signals at all. So you've got a link, but Google basically doesn't count it. Most of the time in blogs these days, those are no follow links. And if you put a link in a comment, most people have, it's called a Kismet. It's a spam blocking widget for WordPress. Most of these sites have that enabled now. So if you put a link in that comment, they're going to filter it out as spam anyway. And here's the other thing. If you've magically found a blog that does give you a do follow link and they don't filter it out with a spam filter, you better believe everybody and their mother has been leaving those same kind of comments on that blog, because these lists are floating around the internet of blogs that will allow these kind of comments. So basically what you're doing is you're sharing all that link juice with all those other links on that page. And not everybody knows this. There's only so much power a page has. And then if it gets diluted between all those links, suddenly you're left with about that much. So it's really not worth it. There are much better ways of getting a backlink: guest posting, going on podcasts, that kind of thing. Sorry to be discouraging there, but there are good ways to do it and then not so good ways. So the next question is from, hope I'm saying this right, Do-It Boskov. But Do-It says, you said that we should do our homework. This is basically referring to one of my other videos. You should do your homework when it comes to making sure you're writing to the right person for link roundup requests. Okay, let me do a little backtracking on this question. So basically I said guest posting is a good way to get backlinks, but you have to reach out to the blog owner and say, hey, I've got this post. How do you like the idea of it? Can I write it for you? But you really have to do your homework when it comes to finding the right person to send that email to. Because I have a blog and I don't accept guest posts anymore, but when I did, I would get so many people writing to these random names. And it's like, well, no one works here by that name. So you've already not done your homework. Now I don't trust you to write a good article for me. So basically I was saying you want to really make sure you're writing to the right person. And he's asking, how do we know we've got the right person? So most websites definitely have a page about who works there. Sometimes it'll say editor next to it. That's the person who's in charge of the blog. And if that page doesn't exist, what you want to do is go through and look for, generally what I used to do is I would look for who's writing the most articles on the site. That's usually the editor. A lot of sites will accept guest posts, but that will be few and far between. It'll be a bunch of posts from this guy, then a few other names, then a bunch more by this guy. And that's usually the person you want to reach out to. In terms of finding their email address, you're gonna have to do some good old-fashioned research, look on LinkedIn, and if all else fails, you can just email the common email formats, first name at site.com or first name dot last name at site.com. Find the right person, then you got to find the right email address. And unfortunately, it's harder to get these gigs now for guest posting because there are so many people who just abuse the system and offer very low quality posts. And that's why I don't accept guest posts on my blog anymore. It just got too hard to sift through the bad ones to find the good ones. Okay, the next question is from Riza Haidari. And Riza says, I have lots of backlinks to my HTTP site, and now I want to turn my site into basically a secure site, HTTPS. Is it dangerous for those links? Will they not update? So basically they're saying, I don't know if you know, but the old way was always HTTP. Now every site is pretty much going to a secure version, which Google prefers, HTTPS/sitename.com. So Riza's wondering, I've got all these backlinks built up to that version of the site. If I change, are all those links going to disappear? No, they're not. And here's why. First of all, Google's gotten very savvy to it. They basically automatically redirect that these days. And even if they didn't, you can always do a really easy 301 redirect. And there's so many plugins you can get on WordPress that'll take care of that for you. So if anyone goes to any page on your old site, it redirects to the new secure version. And with a 301 redirect, sorry to get technical on you now, I'm sure like some of you understand what I'm saying, some of you don't. But just to make it easy, with a 301 redirect, that just passes all that link juice right to the new page. At least like 95% of it. So you're not losing much, if anything at all. But you absolutely should switch to a secure website. It's definitely beneficial to do that. And Google likes to push secure sites above other ones. So go for it. Okay, now I want to address a few common questions that I get more from clients that weren't necessarily asked to me on my YouTube channel, but I want to address these anyway. So the first one of these is it worth getting multiple backlinks from the same site? So there's a lot of common knowledge out there that basically says you should try to get as many links from as many different websites as possible. It doesn't really help to get multiple links from the same site. There's truth to this and there's kind of a falsehood to this as well. So basically, yes, it's better to get links from a bunch of different sites, but will getting a second backlink and a third backlink from an existing site help you? Yeah, just not as much. And the reason this becomes a question is because let's say you've written a blog post for a website. Now you've got a relationship with that site owner. So it's easier to write a second and a third article and get another link from that site than it is to go after a new blog. So yeah, go for it. I wouldn't go for too many from the same site, but 2 or 3 or 4 is fine. It's diminishing returns each time, but still valuable. Okay, next, is it ever okay to buy links? And this can mean several things. People are talking sometimes about just reaching out to blogs and saying, hey, can I buy a link on your site? I don't really love that, but there's ways of just going to a company like The Hoth who does SEO, and they basically you pay them to build links for you. So you're essentially paying for links that way. You can even do Fiverr. You need to be really careful when it comes to buying links like that because the quality can really help your site or it can really hurt the site depending on the kinds of links that are being built. So if you're going to somewhere like Fiverr, just be really cautious and look at the reviews and see if they've actually helped people rank before. Google will say absolutely not. They do not want you buying links because what they want is they want to serve up the best content based on actual signals. However, we're living in the real world here, and there's a way of doing SEO that's scalable, and then there's a way that's just going to require way too much effort for the typical small business. So it's okay to buy links if you're doing it the right way and if it's not setting off a lot of red flags. So make sure the tracks are covered and you're not being too aggressive, and you should be okay. Okay, this next one is a big one, and that is how do you know if your SEO efforts are actually working? And another way to phrase this is really how long should you expect to wait for your SEO efforts to work? So basically, what I've found is that a lot of small businesses, they really want to make a push for SEO, but they get very frustrated and quit way too early because they're not seeing the gains right away that they thought they would. And especially when you start talking about paying an SEO company to do the work for you, they're spending a lot of money out of pocket. And if they're not seeing those returns right away, it gets hard to justify the cost. So in order to see if it's working or not, first of all, you need to have realistic expectations about how long it's going to take. So I'll put it to you this way. So if you're doing it yourself and you're basically just doing a few on-page changes, you're changing title tags, you're kind of optimizing images and all that kind of stuff, adding keywords, you can pretty much expect to start seeing some kind of uplift within 30 days. And the way you look at that is just go in your analytics. I recommend installing the analytics widget on your WordPress. So on your dashboard, it kind of shows up in a window, and you can set it to show you day by day how many unique site visits you're getting. That should be a good indication. So if you see that line going up over time, it's probably working. However, if you're paying a company to do your SEO work for you, it actually might take a little longer, which is counterintuitive. You think, if I'm paying the professionals to do it for me, it should be quicker. The thing about that is most of the time, if you're working with an SEO provider, that first month is going to be doing a lot of planning and they're going to be doing a lot of keyword research. So they're not really doing most of the work in that first month that's going to show up in your analytics, but they're setting the stage for bigger gains to come. So you can expect that to take place in the months after. So the bigger question here then is how long is it really going to take? So if you're hiring an SEO company or doing it yourself. So realistically, you're going to want to give it about 3 months to about a year. It really depends on your competition level and how much work you're actually putting into it, or how much money you're paying the SEO company, because let's face it, time is money. So generally speaking, the more you pay, that should translate into more output from your SEO provider. So don't give up on it right away. It's not going to work right away. You have to be in it for the longer haul. And if you're looking for faster results, you're probably going to want to use paid traffic. Facebook ads, Google AdWords, that kind of thing. SEO is a longer term play that you're not going to see results from right away. But if you do the work and you do it right, those results can last for a really long time. Unless, of course, you have really stiff competition and you have to kind of keeping up with the Joneses. So it's really up to your unique situation, unfortunately. Okay, next one is, should I get a keyword-rich URL for my business for SEO? So what that means is when people are starting a new business, a lot of times they're tempted to get a URL or a domain name that has their keywords in it. The thinking being that that is good for SEO. And it's basically a double-edged sword here, because yes, having those keywords in a domain name are helpful for SEO. However, that is being discounted more and more every year. Google has said that they're looking at that less. However, it's still kind of a factor. But you have to ask yourself, is it going to look spammy in my URL? to have those keywords in there. Sometimes it looks perfectly natural. Think of it if your domain was, Tri-City tree removal. Tree removal's in there, it looks perfectly natural. But then think of like if you were a wedding photographer and it was Kyle Walker wedding photography, Kansas City. Like obviously that is just really long and looks spammy. And so what happens is even if you get found in the search results, people are less likely to click on that result because it just looks kind of off. Not to mention, you're adding a lot of extra characters to your domain name, which makes it harder for people to type in when they're just trying to look you up or research you. So you really have to balance length of the domain name and ease of use of it with the potential benefits you'll get from SEO. And I should say, you can still get your keywords into your URL on the back end of it. So not for your homepage, but again, let's use our photographer example. What if it was, Kyle Walker Photography or walkerphotography.com/wedding photography or /event photography. So then you've got landing pages that you can be found for those different keywords. And that's actually the smarter way to do it. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this new format of the Q&A. I plan on doing more of these. Let me know if you like it, and let me know if you have any questions either for SEO or digital marketing, email marketing, websites, landing pages, anything like that. And I will try to answer them in an upcoming Q&A session. So if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and click on the circle icon right here to subscribe. Otherwise, check out another video. I've got 2 more right here that you might enjoy, so we don't have to stop the party now. Go ahead and click on one of these. I'm Wes McDowell for The Deep End, and I'll see you in our next video.